All right, friends. So, welcome back to another DeFi Weekly. The name of this one is "We Are So Back." So, last time we were in search of a catalyst, or in search of catalyst was the name of the DeFi Weekly post, and it looks like we found that catalyst, which I think most of you, or probably all of you listening to this, know what that catalyst is. So, let's get to this week. So of course we're going to go over the blue chip prices, going to see how things have been performing. We're going to go over the biggest movers. We're going to go over on-chain metrics. We're going to go over the market structure and to see what's been happening. And we're going to spend a little bit of time on the crypto election, or what we're calling the crypto election. They're going to go over the state of DeFi like usual. What are yields doing? What are borrow rates doing? If there's anything new in DeFi, something we're going to go long on, not literally, but something we think is cool, and something we're going to go short on, something we don't think is not gonna be great. And it's pretty funny this week, so that should be cool. And lastly, we have a gift and an ask. So every week we share something with you that we found in the week before or during this week, and we have a specific ask, like if that you should do or read or look after or look into, um, because we think it will benefit you. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so state of the market. I mean, we are we are in that moment where we're really approaching. We're not approaching. We are into new all-time high um, territory, which sounds surreal to say, honestly. So BTC, no Bitcoin has ever been priced this high, as you can see on the all-time chart there. Um, and it's not great to think in analogs, but I've been around personally through quite a few bull markets at this point, and it's always a little shaky around the all-time high breaks. Is it real? Is it going to be sustainable? When we broke a 20K in December 2020, I believe, there was the same feeling of, you know, is it just going to dump after, all this different stuff? And generally speaking, the break of the all-time high has been very, 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 very positive. So we see that with BTC. ETH is finally starting to perform well as well. So maybe we'll start to see that breaching all-time high as well. Solana, same exact thing. We are, getting there in terms of that all-time high. And lastly, ETH BTC is starting to look like it's somewhat alive. Um, it's 0.037 right now, which is up a little bit from the previous week. So I think, if there's sort of a wealth effect and risk starts to get distributed throughout the sort of risk curve in the crypto assets, we should see ETH BTC starting to perform pretty well. Now, big movers. Uh, Couple that so of course we have Doge. Well, it's not Doge, but it's a Department of Government Efficiency, um, is pumping for obvious reasons. We have Lock In, which is a meme coin that I wish I bought. Actually, I was sharing it with some people the other week, last week, and it's gone up 2x. So that's not great, but hey, that's okay. And not maybe that's one to watch in the future. And one that also sticks out here is Cal Protocol. So maybe that's one to investigate as well. Um, uh, in terms of why that's gone up so much. Maybe because it's relative to Uniswap and the deregulation of, or proposed deregulation of crypto assets, and just regulatory clarity will have positive benefits for Cow to do well, perhaps. And then on the big loser side, for obvious reasons, we see the Trump coins, people probably taking profits. So that's probably the reason for those big losers. Now, of course, we want to make sure that we're not getting over our skis or sort of overzealous in the market action that's been happening. So a good indicator of that, of course, as I always say, there are no perfect indicators, but the MVRV, the sort of the market value to realized value, gives us a general idea if the market is feeling sort of oversold or toppy or somewhere in the middle. And right now, I think a good rule of thumb is to say, anything below 3 is sort of fine in terms of spot. Anything below um, anything below 1.5, 1.75 is like you really want to be kind of accumulating. And then anywhere over 4, 5, especially up into 6, you're starting to get cautious, and stuff like that. So based on the MVRV right now, we're in a good spot. We're not overheated, maybe in the short term a little bit, but we should be fine. Now, when we look at the ETF flow data, this is also something that is incredibly bullish. So this is all time since the launch of the respective ETFs, ETH ETF and BTC ETF, and we see that we are having inflows that are now similar of size, or similar size and consistency from when the ETF first launched in January 2024, which is, in my view, incredibly, 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 incredibly bullish. So yeah, that's also really great for crypto assets and just like the crypto asset market as a whole. We even start to see some inflows coming into ETH, which has been historically incredibly slow on the ETF front. So yeah, this is really great to see. We have the TradFi kind of rails there in place for people to actually specifically and efficiently express their view of a Bitcoin or crypto asset allocation, given the complete regime shift and stance toward crypto that we have now witnessed, or at least put the first steps into place, given the election result. Now, from the funding point of view, are we starting to get overheated? Like, is the cost to borrow? Are people paying exorbitant prices to borrow? And it still doesn't look like we're super overheated. On the left-hand side, we see what it was last week. And on the right-hand side, you can see what it is this week. So you can see that just on the colors, like they're getting a little bit darker, they're getting a little bit more overheated, but certainly not crazy. Is this the place that you'd want to be borrowing, uh, in terms of on places and stuff like that? Not exactly sure, but yeah, maybe it is if you think that the momentum is going to continue. So now moving on to market narratives, I think for me, I don't wanna have a like um partisan view. Like I'm literally in Canada, uh, recording this, so I don't really have I shouldn't, I guess, have a dog in this fight in terms of you know Republican or Democrat or something. But there are two things that I think are really critical to take into account from a just objective point of view as people who are into crypto, people who are market participants in crypto markets. The first one is Polymarket, and we've always spoken about, or the general consensus has been stablecoins as a killer app in crypto, which is 100% true, both qualitatively and quantitatively. That is the sort of thing that has had the strongest product market fit. Um, but uh, what I'm sort of calling here is crypto's kind of Showtime app. It feels like Polymarket and its role in the election and the role in giving really everyday people the ability to see and to actually understand what was going on in real time, and the juxtaposition of, you know, I highly recommend searching for this interview with the Polymarket CEO on CNBC, because the interviewer says, "Hey, your app made me feel powerful in the moment," because they were watching TV, they were watching mainstream media, and they were saying, "Hey, it's neck and neck, it's neck and neck," and Polymarket was saying, "No, it's not." Um, and that is really the power of markets. There's the power of applications that can be built on Ethereum and used by everyday people, which is just, to me, incredible. And it's really, yeah, I think indicative of a lot of the things that we could see coming later this year and into next year, maybe even within, summer, with our protocol launching and things like that, where it's really giving power to everyday people to use these tools that are just so incredibly powerful. Now, I want to also touch on a couple of other things. So, again, trying to be as objective as possible, which is, what does this mean? What does the sort of election result mean for crypto assets? And one thing is, I really appreciated this post from Brian Armstrong, which we'll definitely link to. Um, which is, kind of talking about some of the implications, and really thinking about that on like the level of the Senate, I believe, how specific politicians are now, pro crypto, and how this is just going to really give a lot of wind to the back, yeah, winds at our back, I guess you could say, um, for crypto regulations globally, as the United States is just a super important country, obviously, as well as in the United States, which, the overwhelming majority of capital in the world is in the United States. I am fairly certain that is true, but you might have to you might have to double check me on that. But I'm fairly certain that that's true, at least in terms of people who are allocating capital on a daily basis. Markets, for example, U.S. markets, equity markets are certainly the largest. And if we can, you know like, lower the barrier to crypto assets being thought of and utilized in that same vein, that is just incredibly bullish, not only for the price action, which is somewhat obvious, but also for, again, what these tools really allow for, and how we can actually start to innovate in, financial services and financial markets and financial innovation, um, beyond just like financial engineering, which has been the innovations that have been happening uh, in the highly regulated financial services industry prior. Now, one other thing that I thought was great to think about this, or to see this, or to visualize this, was this tool from standwithcrypto.org, which goes through and shows at a very specific level, um, uh, where the pro crypto candidates are, and the ones that have been elected. And it's quite jarring when you see that, hey, when a state turns purple, it means a pro crypto candidate has been elected. And look at this. It's all purple, more or less. And that's incredible. That is meaning that the United States of America is now a pro, or is positioned now potentially to be a pro crypto nation, which is just so it's somewhat it's just incredible to say. So that's great. Highly recommend checking this out, because it goes into a lot of detail, and you can look up different people and their stances on stuff. So that's pretty great. Now, let's talk about some other stuff, which is the state of DeFi. So, back to, like, kind of our fundamental stuff, is like, what are yields doing in DeFi? And kind of, I think we're pretty much exactly the same. Athena is still kind of the yield to the high yield to be getting in DeFi that's liquid enough to do in size. DSR is 5.5% still. The staked USDS rate is 6.25%. And I believe Sky rewards, if you're into getting Sky rewards, is around 11% today. So a lot of good yields to be able to get in DeFi, and of course, one that I always mention with SUSDE, that we'll actually be sharing more information about later this week is or early next week is the SUSDE yield loop positions on Summer that are really incredible. I think actually. Some of them yielding 20, 30, 35% for strategies that are fairly straightforward. Now, in terms of borrow rates, um, the cost to borrow for ETH mainly has not really, not at all actually ticked up that much. So that's pretty great. Like the prices are really increasing quite a bit, and borrow rates are staying relatively stable. That is probably not going to be the case for in the coming while here, but for now the rates are great. And something that's awesome with Summer is that you can borrow against your assets on any of these different protocols, and if the rate goes up on Spark, or maybe it's better on Morpho, or maybe it's better on Aave, we provide a position swap, which is one transaction to just go from one rate to another rate, or from one LTV to another LTV, at just one transaction, and it's super simple. So that's great. Now, what's going on in DeFi? So presumably, I'm not sure if anybody, how many people have been paying attention, but there was a little bit of a discussion, let's say, around Maker and Sky, and should Sky go back to being Maker, and are people too confused by Sky, and all this different stuff. And while that was really admirable, in my opinion, from Rune, to have that sort of open mindedness, the decision has been made to keep the Sky brand, as opposed to going back to the MKR brand. Which, yeah, not sure if that's good or bad, but that's the decision that's been made. I think personally, the main thing is just to get the Sky, use Sky or MKR to be able to farm with it. I think that's the big thing. But yeah. Now, all right, long short. So something that we're long this week is the United States of America. I think it's great that we're like, well, not we, but a pro crypto stance for a pro crypto stance are just incredible in the United States and America. That's really the brunt of this slide, I guess, which is meant to be kind of funny, but yeah, it's not really a political statement at all. It's just like the fact that it's great to be pro crypto in the U.S. Now, something we'd be short is Gary Gensler. Yeah, pro crypto and Gary Gensler don't go hand in hand. So that's basically that. Now, lastly, a gift and an ask this week is this interview with Stan Druckenmiller, which is one of the best investors in the world. Actually, one of the only people who has consistently outperformed the market beta over his career. And it has a lot of great tidbits, and I think that it would be, a lot of great insights for people who are in crypto assets, in crypto markets. He talks a lot about a lot of things that I've actually experienced myself and had to learn the hard way. So, yeah, it's really great, very much worth watching, and hopefully it can help you throughout this bull run. Now, one ask, it's actually two asks. It would be to go on YouTube. Well, if you're probably already on YouTube, so after you're done watching this, and after you're done hitting like and subscribe, search bull market strategies summer fi and watch some of our videos around how to use summer in a bull market, how to use multiply, how to use borrow, how to use automation. If you weren't aware that we have great automations that are available for bull market setups, search automation in YouTube with Summer, or reach out to us on Discord, and be happy to tell you all about our automation. It's really great for a bull market, and yeah, we'd be happy to help you get set up. So that's it for this week. Thank you all so much for listening, and we're still back.